Do you love God? Well, how much? With everything? Are you sure? Jesus said, love God completely. Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus said comes from Matthew 22, verses 37 through 38. And we'll be reading from the New Living Translation this morning, where Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment." That's pretty intense. We have to love God with everything, and that's where the soundbite comes from. Love God completely. And just thinking back to the Got Milk kind of advertising campaign, I guess the question today is, got love? You know, it's easy to say that we love God. In fact, our church's vision, and it's not that unique. Many churches use love God, love people. We've added make disciples to that. But it's more than words. Our actions show what we really love. And do our actions really show that we love God completely, that we love Him with everything? What does that look like? Well, 1 John chapter 5, verses 1 through 3 says that everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ has become a child of God. And everyone who loves the Father loves his children too. We know we love God's children if we love God and obey His commandments. Loving God means keeping His commandments. And His commandments are not burdensome. What are God's commandments? It's really easy to take that list of right and wrong things and use it to judge other people. But actually, you can't love God and not love people, because that's a command as well, to love God with everything and love your neighbor as yourself. And our love of God is going to be directly reflected in how we love other people. In Romans 8, verses 6 through 9, Paul talks about our sinful nature. He says, "So letting your sinful nature control your mind leads to death, but letting the Spirit control your mind leads to life and peace. For your sinful nature is always hostile to God. It never did obey God's laws, and it never will. That's why those who are still under the control of their sinful nature can never please God. But you are not controlled by your sinful nature. You are controlled by the Spirit, if you have the Spirit of God living in you. And remember that those who do not have the Spirit of Christ living in them do not belong to Him at all." So how do we know that we belong? We know by which nature controls us. Is it our sinful nature of hate, of judgment, of condemnation, of anger, of selfishness, of pride, of envy? Or are we walking in the Spirit, seeing the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, meekness, patience, self-control? Loving God completely isn't just about saying that you believe the right thing. It isn't just about being a part of the right political group. Loving God completely means that we walk completely in His commands, and that we walk in the Spirit and put to death the things in our flesh that aren't like Him. And you can't do that part-time. You can't tiptoe into the kingdom. Loving God completely is an all or nothing commitment. There is no plan B. And we know that we love Him because we keep His commandments. And it's not just the big sins. The commandments to treat one another well. Jesus said that the world would know that we're his disciples by our love one for another. But American Christianity is one of the most divided things in the world today. If we love God completely, we must love him without compromise. We must put into action all of the things that he requires for us to do. Things like mercy and fighting for justice and treating one another the way that we would like to be treated. And Jesus said that it's the most important thing. It's the greatest commandment, to love God completely. So how can you put that into action today? Jesus said, love God completely. Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really does mean a lot when you like it, when you share it, when you comment. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first, and love God completely.